Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Angelique Imani Rodriguez. I am the Manager of Community Engagement and Volunteer Initiatives here at the NASW New York City chapter. And tonight you're joining myself and the NASW New York City Cares member ambassadors of the 2021 to 2022 academic year for the Fall 2021 Virtual Student Symposium, launching the NASW New York City Students of Social Work Committee. Welcome and thank you once again for being here with us this evening. So during tonight's event, you'll hear from NASW New York City leaders. You'll have the opportunity to network with fellow New York City students of social work and social work professionals. You'll be introduced to this year's NASW New York City Cares member ambassadors. You'll hear about the new NASW New York City Students of Social Work Committee, and you'll also hear about the ways that you can get involved. So first, let me introduce you. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce you to the NASW New York City Executive Director, Dr. Claire Green-Forde, who is here this evening to share some opening words. Dr. Claire, whenever you're ready.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited for you guys. My energy's low because I've been in meetings. I think this is 11 hours. So I do want to say that up front, but I'm really excited for the launch of this committee. I think it is so important. Students have always been the lifeblood of NASW across the entire lifespan of the organization, which we just made 66 years. And so I wanted to take the time to formally thank you all for your participation, your engagement, your knowledge, your skill, your questions, and your leadership. All of you are leaders, and I'm really excited that you have decided to answer the call and to embark on this journey. Lots of process recordings, and sometimes wondering if I'm doing the right thing. And so at NASW, our overall goal and mission is to enhance the profession and to ensure that we do that by hearing from the profession, and you are the profession. Our schools of social work are the conduit to continue and to allow amazing social workers to be in the field and to serve the communities, to uplift those who are marginalized, to support those who are oppressed, and to create space so that those who are intentionally silenced have voice. And so with that, that is the purpose of what we do, but it's an extension of all of the committees that are connected to the chapter and what we hope that you will engage in doing. It is really important that as students of social work, you also acknowledge the importance of abiding by our code of ethics. I know that sometimes people say, do I have to do this code of ethics thing? But the reality is, if you so choose to take up the call of social work, then yes, you absolutely need to abide by our code of ethics. We are really grateful, honestly, for the energy that's coming through. There's been such amazing ideas, and Angelique has shared with me that have come out and come up from you guys. And I think it's really important that you know that this is a space and a home where we welcome all students, and we welcome those who are learning, growing, interested in the profession, even those who may not be in it right now. And we hope that this is a space that they can connect, learn, grow, and share about social work. One of the things that I will say to you is I want you to think of your why as you think through, why is this important? Why is connecting to NASW and doing the work to become a social worker important? Often people tell me that they want to be a social worker because they want to help people. And my response is many people help people. There has to be a unique difference that separates you from the desire to help people than the desire to serve people. Because as a profession, our primary role is to serve. And I know that that may sound cliche, but it truly is what we're here to do. As students, as you embark on going through the journey of learning, I'm quite sure all of you love human behavior 1, 2, and 3, which got added a few years ago. I'm sure you're loving your policy classes, your psychopharm classes, your legislative advocacy agenda classes that you have to take, and all the other things that you're taking. But the purpose of this group really is to create space for you to share, to grow, to connect, to partner, to learn, to support each other, and also to help support the work of the chapter and be the voice of our profession as we move forward. And so with that in mind, I want you, as I said a little earlier, to think of your why. Why do you want to become a social worker? Why is it important for you to answer this call? And I'm going to be honest, sometimes people tell me, well, it's easier than getting into psychology. If that's the reason, I want you to rethink it, because it's not. Social work requires not only knowledge and practice skill, but it requires you to be humble and to be culturally curious consistently. Social work requires that you are aware of the rules, the regulations, the laws that are governing your practice, but also in the areas that you are practicing. Social work requires that you're not only concerned with the individual, but you're concerned with the individual in the context of their environment. So social work goes beyond just focusing on, Mary, for example. Social work concerns itself with Mary and Mary's family, Mary's likes, Mary's dislikes. If Mary is connected to, a pet and how that pet may support Mary's treatment. Social work is beyond what we often think of it. I recently did an interview and I said, social work is not about baby snatching, because people think that, but the breadth of social work is knowledge, it is research, it is advocacy, it's grassroots organizing, it is policy, it is understanding the intersectionalities that create the people and the clients that you're going to serve, as well as how your intersectional identity shapes the practitioner that you're going to be. Social work is all encompassing of micro, meso, and macro skill and practice. And so it is important that regardless of the path that you're on, that you use the skills that you're learning and integrate that you form networks, that you build bridges beyond those who look like you, beyond those who pray to the same gods that you pray to, beyond those who speak your language, beyond those who may have similar interests in you. Social work should concern itself with going beyond what's comfortable. And so I call on you to go beyond what's comfortable. And I applaud you for taking the time to come together to form this committee, to engage, to lend your ideas, your knowledge, your skills. And I'm really grateful and hopeful that as we journey together, that you will find this to be a rewarding experience, but you'll also bring a friend. I always tell people we have 5 boroughs in New York City, so bring 1 for 5. We got 5 on it. That's a song for those of you who may not remember that from back in the day. But I do encourage you to bring people with you, bring people along the journey. And I'm excited to see what comes from this. So congratulations on the official launch. And I'm welcoming and excited about all of the things that are going to happen and all the people that you're going to be able to connect and bring through the doors to learn about the advocacy that we're doing. With that, I will pass it back to Angelique, and if there's any questions, I'll be here for a little bit.
Thank you, Dr. Claire. Side note, I do remember that song. So thank you once again, Dr. Claire, for your opening remarks. First, I want to talk to you guys about what exactly is the Member Ambassador Program. So the Member Ambassadors, which are here today, you'll be introduced to them very shortly. The NASW New York City Cares Member Ambassador Program, we identify students from accredited schools of social work within New York City who serve as liaisons between their programs and the chapter, and they serve as the co-chairs of the new NASW New York City Students of Social Work Committee. The Member Ambassador Program is open to any NASW student member in New York City, with applications opening over the summer. With its launch in the 2020 to 2021 academic year, the MA program was able to hold 2 successful virtual student symposiums just like this one, held various student support events, and created the framework of the new Students of Social Work Committee that the chapter is launching today. So kudos to them. When you receive this PDF presentation post-event, you'll be able to click directly on images indicated and access all of this important information about the MA program, about the committee, and so forth and so on. So let's introduce you all to the 2021 to 2022 member ambassadors. First, we have Daniel J. DeBrucker. I'm not sure if he's in here with us yet. Hopefully he is. I'm sure he's busy. Michelle Falco, everybody say hi to Michelle. Robert Hill is also here. Jeanette Minson is also here. Shout outs to her. Sharon Mosley, Weena Sanchez, and Lana Schusterman. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us for the MA program year this year. Lana, whenever you are ready, dear.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I just wanted to, on behalf of everybody else here, excuse me, just wanted to get to know everybody. So let's get to know each other. One of our MAs is going to post a Google form in the chat area. Please feel free to fill it out at your discretion. Hopefully you will be able to share your information with us. This is for the purpose of networking with each other. This information will be shared with all the attendees after the event. along with the PDF version of this presentation as well. So you can connect with everybody that's here, and with the New York City social work students from different schools within New York City, and possibly also with some New York City social work professionals. You'll have easy access to all the resources and info being shared tonight as well.
So, hi everyone. I'm Jeanette, and we're kind of at why you're here tonight. We want to introduce you to the Students of Social Work Committee, and everything you need to know is going to be shared with you this evening about this committee. So how it all started. After coordinating and facilitating last year's virtual symposiums, the member ambassadors last year realized that there was a need at the chapter of the NASW. Students felt that there weren't really connections to the chapter. They weren't aware of resources available, opportunities, how they could network and get to know each other. So how, besides the member exclusive MA program, can NY social work students engage with one another at this chapter? With the needs of the NYC social work students in mind, the idea for this committee was then born. The member ambassadors are the co-chairs of this committee representing their schools and the NASW-NYC chapter through their work. It is our goal to help support the growth of this committee through the work we do as part of the MA program and with the collaborative efforts we make with all of you here tonight.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon, and welcome to everyone. So I'm just going to read the mission of the committee really quickly. And again, as was mentioned previously, when you receive the PDF document, you'll be able to click on the links to the Code of Ethics and then also to any other text on the website. So the mission of the Students of Social Work Committee is to create and develop necessary support for New York City social work students to grow in their academic experiences and assist in preparing them for their future careers as New York City social workers. And the committee aims to create accountable spaces that foster a strong community of New York City social work students with an adherence to the Code of Ethics and the mission and priorities of the New York City chapter. And the overall goals, which I'm really excited about, are to collaborate with other committees that are already established and potential partners to develop and organize programming that can foster education, engagement, and just generally support our education. Another goal is to create accountable environments that are inclusive of all social work New York City social work students and promote the mission, to provide resources for students that can help us advocate for ourselves, because that's important as well. That's, one of our roles as social workers. And then lastly, to create a professional support network for students entering their social work careers, bridging them to the new professionals are in our subcommittee after graduation. So basically, is the goals are to enhance our involvement with the New York City chapter. So.
Sorry about that. So our current projects that we're working on are the Students of Social Work Committee seeks to connect with your schools, student representatives. These are important connections because what the committee is trying to do is to build support from the students, and by way of the student representatives is going to give us a lot more support. The Students of Social Work Committee is aiming to have multiple student support events during spring 2022 semester. So we really need your feedback in what events you want to see, because that's going to determine what we're going to try and make available. So events such as study groups, mental health and support groups, mini workshops to promote professional development, are some of the ideas that we had, but we really want to hear from you students so that we can cater it towards what is wanted, right? We don't want to make programs that we think is wanted. We want, you know, it to come from you. And lastly, the Students of Social Committee aims to provide resources for NYC students of social work that can help them advocate for themselves, such as listings of affordable and used textbooks, resources, toolkits, and internships. So again, like, we really need to hear from you students, because what's important to you is what's important to us. And those are our current projects.
So I really quickly want to address a question that came in to the chat room. It's just wondering if this is for current MS students only. No, this is for all students of social work in New York City, BSW, and things like that. So you're very welcome, if you are not currently an MSW student, to participate and to give us your feedback, and we'll discuss further ways of how you can do that. I'll get into that very shortly, but really, really great questions. Okay, so. Michelle?
Hey, so yeah, oh, sorry, I don't know, because there's two Michelles. I just want to clarify my question really quick, if possible.
Okay.
So I was saying, if you have already graduated, is this appropriate still?
Well, if you have already graduated, you can give us your feedback if you'd like, and participate in that way. I can also connect you with the new professionals R&R subcommittee. There are various other committees that you can also engage with, but feel free to offer your input, being that you are just recently a graduate, correct? Michelle?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
Thank you so much, yes.
Yeah, so just offer, there's ways, I'll explain later what that looks like. On the committee page now, there's a button that you can click where you can fill out a form that will give us, you can submit resources, insight, anything that you would like to share with the committee, and then the MAs will kind of review and see what we can work with for that. So if you do have suggestions, we welcome them, for sure. I hope that answers your question, my dear.
Hi, everyone. My name's Michelle. I'm also part of the CARES team. And one of the things we discussed this year is to advocate for field placement and internships. I've heard across the board and at my school, my Columbia, that there are a lot of problems and issues that were not being addressed, and no one really had anywhere to go with them. So, and we've heard this across all schools now, and this has been going on for, you know, quite some time. They started to get the ball rolling, I think, last year. So this year, what we're trying to do is just, again, keep the conversation going. And this is going to be not just something that happens overnight, but as long as we continue and like hear from everybody as what they're looking for in terms of like what you're getting from your supervision, or specifically compensation has come up. So we have a survey that you guys can all fill out, that everyone can fill out, and that would be really helpful for us, so we can hear from everyone and then have a really like a wide view of what everybody else is thinking.
Excellent. So just a note, just to kind of return back to this slide, you know, we are in conversation with leaders, Dr. Claire specifically, a lot of our board members. We're going to start talking about what this looks like for the chapter and for the committee. So this is us setting up lily pads so that way we can be of better support and have more resources for you. But please be mindful that the chapter is not responsible for state guidelines that are set forth by New York State around internship requirements, and that each school's guidelines, though they are based on these state requirements, may differ. So it is encouraged and important that you speak to your field placement offices around any specific issues and inquiries. Familiarize yourself with what your field placement office may offer offer you, but also, as Michelle pointed out, it's super important that we get this data from you and we get this information about what your needs look like as a student of social work in regards to internships. So when we speak to these field placement offices, we have this information to rely on. So when you receive this PDF post-event, you'll be able to click directly onto the PDF, exactly where it says click here, and you'll be able to access that information. The deadline is January 3rd. I want to make sure that you guys are able to share this link with all of your classmates. The more information that we have, the better, so that way we can share it with a large group of people. Again, this isn't a guarantee of anything, but it is a step in the right direction, and that's what we want, is to offer resources, to offer support, but we can't do that without you. So it really is depending on if you guys complete that survey. Again, January 3rd would be the deadline for that.
So the national platform is, I'm sorry, I got tongue-tied, but so just as we were talking about the New York City Cares event being part of wanting to hear your questions, there's a national platform that is coming up. It's an event on November 15th, and they want to hear about the biggest topics like your social work program, racial justice, political action, unpaid internships, social work ethics. Students Focus event will feature a panel of social workers and current students that will discuss some of the hot topics in social work, education, and field. So please bring experience, resources, and questions. So it's open to all social work students. And again, that's November 15th, and it's national. It's not just New York City. This is on a national level. So it's very exciting.
It's very exciting, very exciting. We want all New York City social work students to have a voice on the NASW national platform. We are your advocates here in the city, but please join this, share this as well with your fellow students, so that way we can get this out. We want you guys to be able to have a voice there. Is Weena here? No? Okay, I'll present this. So just really quickly, how else can you get involved with the chapter's social work, Students of Social Work Committee? Become a member. So you don't have to be a member to be a part of the committee, but it's your membership that helps the chapter to continue to have programming and resources like this. Without that sort of support, we won't be able to do the work that we want to do, that we have to do, and that needs to be done. Another thing is something that was mentioned earlier in the event, where you can connect us with your school's student rep. If your school isn't represented in the MA program this year, connect us with your student representative so that your school has a voice at the chapter. That's super important. We want to make sure that we're connecting with all of the schools of social work within New York City. Join us for NASW New York City Students of Social Work student support events. Take advantage of the opportunities being shared. Utilize these events as opportunities to network, connect, find the information and the support that you need. I always will try to make sure that a lot of these presentations are shared post-event. Information, networking information, those kinds of things are usually supplied to attendees to our events post-events. So just make sure that you're there so that way you can get access to this information. Another way is to offer resources, connections, insight that you think is important to New York City students of social work. Is very much what we were talking about, Michelle Correa. There's a form that's designed for you guys. So this committee is designed for students, by students. So shared ideas, resources, connections, insight can support the work that the committee is doing. Without you, there is no committee. So the form to share this information is directly located on the committee page. You'll see it, it says click here to share resources or information. Please feel free to share whatever you think is important. And lastly, share the information, events, resources made available to you with your peers, with your colleagues. So as events, initiatives, resources designed for student support come up, help us get the word out about the efforts being made by the Students of Social Work Committee by sharing with your classmates, peers, faculty, and colleagues. So it's important that we get this information out. We try our best in terms of promotional efforts here at the chapter, but it's really helpful when people share our posts, put it in in their stories, things like that, tag us on things. It's really helpful in terms, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the Instagram algorithm, which can kind of be a headache. But in terms of that, like, just make sure that you're sharing it and you're spreading the word, because there's a lot of people that often ask, well, we don't know what they have available for students. We don't know what they have, what they're doing at NASW New York City. And this is the way that we can do that, by spreading the word, letting them know what this information looks like. So what are the main differences between the Member Ambassador Program and the Students of Social Work Committee? So one, let's just go down the line for the Member Ambassador Program. Membership is required to be a Member Ambassador. You get access to professional and personal development opportunities that are curated specifically for you. You can utilize this role on your CV or resume, and you get recognition on NASW New York City Communications. So our currents newsletter, our social media, and so forth. Now, where do these two converge? Where do these two come together? There are plenty of networking opportunities via our events, via having meetings with leadership at NASW New York City, with our board members, with other committee members, and so forth. And that's where you can collaborate and engage with us. And you have tons of access to resources and student support events. So just to name some of the ideas that have occurred in conversation with the member ambassadors, one of the things that we're discussing is having a mini workshop based on how to write process recordings. Another thing that we're working on is having a panel just to talk about internship accessibility and what that looks like for social work students that are disabled. So those are just some of the things that we're thinking of. We are very open to new ideas, to new engagement opportunities, new engagement events, and it's super important that you guys get involved. I am not a social work student. I say this to the member ambassadors all the time. This is for you, by you. So your information, your insight, your input is always welcomed. So make sure that you visit that committee page and fill out that form. And it's super important that we get that information so we can give you guys that information and resources. So do we have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand to speak or enter your question into the chat section. We have just a short amount of time for that. Feel free to put your questions in the chat room.
Well, I raised my hand, but that was like,
oh, did you
see that? I
oh
did.
sorry, go ahead.
No worries. So I just wanted to, no worries, clarify that there was, the symposium form, it's closed. So when you click the link, and somebody had put that in the chat earlier, so I just want to make sure that you saw it. That
Okay.
Form that we're asking people to fill out, the Google for the networking form, it says it's not taking responses.
Okay, so that is my error, guys. So what will happen post event is that you'll also receive the Google link as well. I will, once I close out this presentation screen, I'll be able to adjust that, and I'll send it to you guys immediately after the event. And then we'll give it a few days, and then we'll send you guys that information so that way you can connect. So this easy fix, no worries about that. Are there any other questions? Dr. Claire, is that you raising your hand again?
No, I'm trying to go back to
Okay.
Hi, this is Linda speaking.
Yes.
Hi, I just have a question. I think I'm just a little bit confused. And I'll just clarify that I am an advanced standing MSW student at Fordham University. Are you looking for students to be the ambassadors, or were the 7 that you showed us immediately, they're already chosen as ambassadors for this CARES program, and you're just wanting us to be, okay, thank you. I wasn't sure, you kept talking about ambassadors, I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So the member ambassadors, again, just to clarify for you, are the co-chairs of the committee. So we get the information from you, you guys collaborate with us, and they're the ones that will help execute these items. So you want to do a support event? I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get your name right. What's your name, my dear?
Hi, I'm Linda.
Linda. So Linda, let's say you want to have an event in regards to internship accessibility or something like that. I don't know, right? Anything that you want to do. You would submit this form, then we would reach out to you. We could possibly set a meeting with you, the member ambassadors. We'll talk about what that looks like, and then we can move forward in that way. So that way you're getting the opportunity to actively collaborate with us, while the member ambassadors will then have to execute it in that way. So the reason that we brought it up is that I don't want there to be confusion around what the member ambassadors are and what the Students of Social Work Committee are. That's why I talked about the differences, but just just to be clear, the member ambassadors are the co-chairs. You guys are the members. You guys are going to help us. You're going to support. You're going to put your input and fill out those forms.
This is Linda again. So thank you for clarifying.
Mhm.
I'm also the IFSW, the International Federation of Social Work Student Representative. So I think that'd be great to kind of bridge the collaboration between
Already.
IFSW and the amazing, radical, transformative ethics that they have, and then the NASW. So you have me on board.
Oh, yay. That makes me so happy to hear.
And one of our past presidents, Dr. Congress, who you might know.
He is my supervisor.
Yep, she has been past president of our chapter and a lifelong friend of the chapter. So we certainly know of her work with the IFC. So I think it's really important. I'm really happy to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just had supervision with Dr. Congress, and she was excited that I was coming tonight. She looks forward to me telling her about the amazing work that you're doing. And I also am a cohort of 8. So hopefully I can drag some of them along with me, and I apologize.
Absolutely.
Please do.
Send her our hugs and love, because we absolutely.
We love Dr. Congress at the chapter. Are there any other questions, any concerns, anything that you need clarification on? Please feel free to raise your hand to let us know what that looks like, or put it into the chat if you don't want to speak out loud. That's cool too.
Yeah, I was like, are there any burning questions about this stuff and social work and what you're doing?
So we'll give it just another minute, just in case people are typing. Well, I am super excited about the work that the member ambassadors have been doing. They really have tried so hard to create clear goals for this committee. And I'm super excited about the work that they've already done. We're already in conversation for so many different projects. So kudos to the member ambassadors. And I'm excited to work with all of you in regards to this. I know that there's tons to be done. So I'm really excited. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This was allotted for 2 hours. I kind of give us a nice cushion just to make sure that we have time to include any information and make sure that you guys get everything that you need. The member ambassadors are so proud and so happy to be here for you guys. I can't express to you guys what the meetings with them look like. They're so brilliant and amazing, and they're just amazing, wonderful rock stars. And I'm just really happy to be here as their support. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Again, there's a form on the committee page. There is also, you can email me at cares.nasw-nyc@socialworkers.org. Again, all of this information will be sent out to you, including that Google form. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stop sharing my screen very shortly. And I want to make sure that I do that for you guys now. So just give me 1 second.
Did you end the recording, or?
I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
Thank you. 1 second.